Welcome. Good morning, good afternoon. Hi, hello to those of you who are joining, Margie, Gibbon, Bree. I'm glad that you're here, and to anybody else who's tuning in on the live stream. I'm excited to talk with you today. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be talking about a little bit about the sort of history, not necessarily history of the CDEI, but sort of reintroduction of our strategic plan. I'm going to give a fresh overview of our teams and committees, and those teams and committees where we're looking for new leadership. We'll do an open announcement and give anybody who's on the call an opportunity to share the announcements and updates that they have. And then similar to the last few meetings, we'll have a space for you to do sort of a call to action, remember, and sort of recognize, reflect what it is that you want to do and take away from today's meeting. And then we'll do a celebration and sort of open mic to give everybody a chance to talk about what's going on in their neck of the woods. So as a reminder, the commission, we do have a website. We are always actively working to update it. So we encourage you to visit. There's lots of information on our website, but just, recognize that we are all volunteers, and sometimes there may be a little bit of information that could use an update. But if you have any questions, I encourage you to reach out to me or to any of our leaders to learn more. And there's always a sort of broader question of what is a commission again? And so it's always good to remind you that the divisions across the society, they connect members, whereas commissions connect all across all of ASEE. So we have delegates from all of the divisions, we have delegates from the sections, we have delegates from lots of different groups across the society. All in service of ASEE's vision to have a more equitable and inclusive organization. And so I'm going to dive in and sort of refresh our memories around the strategic plan. And so the strategic plan, you can learn about this on our website. And so if you go to our homepage, there is a little highlighting bar at the very top of the page. It says learn about the strategic process, the planning process here. So that will kind of tell you how we got to this strategic plan. And then you can review what it is that we had submitted to the board and was approved at ASEE's annual conference summer before last. And so the first thing that we did as a broader community and team was to really decide what are our values as a commission, and then ultimately how do those values shape up into our priorities. And so you'll see this sort of theme of partner, model, empower, and grow throughout the strategic plan, because we took these values and priorities and then broke them down into some specific objectives that are divided up, you know, sort of sub to each of those values. And so the first of our value and priorities is to partner. And so our goal as a commission is to partner with all of the ASEE groups to assess and implement equitable and inclusive policies and practices that advance ASEE's vision, mission, goals, and values. And so what that means is that it's not necessarily our job as a commission to do all the things. The opportunity that we have is to partner with all of the groups who are doing the things and to support that work and to certainly provide visibility to the work that's happening. The second is to model. So our goal and value and priority is to listen to the needs of the ASEE members and really strive to lead authentically, transparently, and inclusively by modeling some of the best practices that we have around diversity, equity, and inclusion. Our third value and priority is that of empowering. So we want to cultivate a very supportive, respectful, and accountable community that empowers each of us to strive for diversity, equity, and inclusion, and justice in engineering. And so, I'll talk a little bit later about some of the teams, but certainly we hope to empower and again create community for people who are doing this work. It's never been the idea that the commission is responsible for all DEI work across the organization, but we do want to provide a sort of home base, a home community for those people who are doing that work to feel empowered and supported. And then finally, our fourth value and priority is to grow. So we want to provide opportunities and support for the engineering education community to grow in their DEI knowledge, capabilities, and effectiveness. And so again, you'll be able to find this on our website, but I'm gonna just kind of give you a little bit of the overview of this. I'm not going to go through all of the objectives, but what you'll be able to see and how this connects to the teams that we'll talk about next is that with each priority, so we've got the first one is partner, we have 5 strategic objectives that are aligned to that. And then we divided up each of those objectives to be sort of primarily responsible to a specific team or committee. And the reason why I use the language team or committee is that it's called a committee if it's already in our bylaws, but because we created a handful of new teams last year, we wanted to see if they got up and running, if they were continuing to be successful in the sense of that we were having active volunteers and working towards those objectives. And then we can look at adding those teams to our bylaws. But from a structural standpoint, they're all the same. Like they're all committees, they're all serving in the same kind of capacity with volunteer leaders and volunteer members working towards our strategic plan. And so when you look at our strategic plan here, you'll see that where there's a little asterisk that's indicating that it was the formation of a new team. Now, admittedly, we are having some challenges getting leaders to take over each of these teams. When we initially set out to expand opportunities for leadership, we really did that in response to the fact that we had lots of volunteers who were serving and were looking for opportunities to lead. And so whether that was a sort of relic of the sort of COVID era or not, but we are sort of struggling to find people to kind of step up into these roles. And we want to help find people to be able to lead and to support you in that leadership. And so we certainly hope that our leaders feel very supported in their work as well. So the next one is, as you can see, to model. And so, we've got, again, 5 strategic objectives for each of these. And so you can, if you're interested in learning more about the strategic plan, you can really dig into this. And so we did our best to make sure that no one committee sort of carried the load. Historically, the Professional Development Committee, which I led for its inaugural 4 years, and it's now led by Bree, we were doing lots of these things. We were doing basically the community building, the encouragement. And so the effort was to kind of break apart some of that committee so that more people could step up and lead. And so hopefully that's interesting to some people who are wanting to, who are seeking more opportunities to lead. Pardon my slide jumping here. And so in combination with that strategic plan, our overarching goals for this year are to improve transparency, communication, and collaboration while in service of and fulfilling of our 2022 strategic plan. And so these meetings, for example, are new, right? The sort of notion of meeting for briefly every other week. The idea is that people will be able to tune into the recordings as they're able and get the updates that they need. And we are trying to get our leaders across the organization to come be our guest speakers. So like last week we had Baishaki Bose, she talked about the Spotlight Committee. Next week, Bree Benedict McIntyre is going to be talking about the work that she leads for the Professional Development Committee. But this is also an opportunity for anybody across ASEE who wants to sort of have an opportunity to elevate their work, whether it's through a division, whether it's through another sort of section or group within ASEE. We hope that you'll be able to take advantage of this time and this sort of platform that we have. We've also increased the ways in which we're communicating. We're trying to send out weekly emails. If you're not on the mailing list, you can join that. And so if you come here to our website and go to get involved, if you just click there, then that's going to give you all the ways that you can get involved. But we want to make sure that you join our list first of all. And so when you subscribe to the mailing list here, you'll be added to the Google group. And then you'll get our sort of weekly emails, weekly-ish emails. And then you also have an opportunity to, from those emails, if you have information that you want us to share in that broadcast, you can do that. And so if we come here and look at the last, for example, newsletter that I sent out last week, you'll see that there is a, where is it here? If you have information that you'd like for us to share, you can submit that here. And so again, we'll make sure that this link is available on our website so that you can add that. And so that's any kind of information that you want either shared in the newsletter, announcement at meetings like this, or across our social platforms, LinkedIn, Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, whatever we're calling it these days, or on our website. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to, again, overview was our committees. So we have this list of committees. You can use the QR code to go to our website to learn more about that. We have a couple of our leaders here with us today. So when we get to those, I'd love for y'all to talk about your committee instead of me. And so you're also welcome to briefly mention anything else related to your committee. But the first committee that we've had for many years is the awards committee. And so if there's a star next to it, that denotes that we're looking for new leaders, that we had people either kind of roll off the committee or had to step down due to other responsibilities. And so the awards committee, they manage the ASEE Best Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Paper competition, as well as the ASEE Constituent Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Award. And so this, the chair of this committee will oversee the award selections to ensure that ASEE board-approved processes are followed. And the awards committee also, there may be other opportunities to kind of create new resources with this committee. So historically, that committee has created some great resources on like how to write a diversity paper. So again, if you go to our website, let's see those resources here. If you go to resources and scroll down to diversity paper resources, this page links you to lots of things about the best diversity paper. So like what is the award? rubric resources on like what to look for, a rubric that they've created, and a score sheet. And then here, a couple of years ago, they led a sort of virtual workshop on tips and guidelines for authors and evaluators. And so we hope that you will consider using these resources, whether you are evaluating best diversity papers for your division, or if you're interested in just writing a great diversity paper. That's what these resources are there for. And so again, the awards committee has historically been responsible for that. And we are looking for leaders. Over the last few years, that committee has been led by 2 people. And so if you and a colleague are interested in co-leading something, you could certainly step up and volunteer in that capacity. Next is the communications committee. This committee manages all the communication efforts, including the CDEI website, and seeks new content. And so if you have any marketing, communications, website, social media, or design skills, this committee needs you. And certainly many of the subcommittees have over time sort of begun to manage their own communications and own website support. And so I know this committee, it's led by Tertia, is always looking for volunteers to help. The next committee is the community building team. So the community building team is one of our new teams. And the goal for this team is to provide community building activities that really seek to aim and nurture the well-being of our membership. And so this could be anything from just virtual hangouts to planning some kind of event at the annual conference. It could be anything that your team really wants to do, but we are seeking a leader for this. The conference planning team is the group of individuals who are focused on overseeing the activities for the ASEE annual conference and other conferences where the CDEI may choose to have a preference. And so the conference planning committee, they're managing things like the booth, the moderators for our sessions. However, the professional development team that's led by Bree McIntyre, that committee manages our program. And so we've got one group that's managing the program, and then the conference planning, they're managing like everywhere the CDEI is sort of showing up and events at the conference. And so that committee doesn't really ramp up until the spring. And we have a new leader of that because Rochelle has rolled off of many years of leadership. The next is the encouragement team. The encouragement team is designed to support members who are embracing difficult conversations. Maybe they're being targeted at their university. Maybe they're experiencing some kind of issues related to their work around diversity, equity, and inclusion, or maybe they're just leaders within the DEI space and they're facing some kinds of, issues of systemic racism or sexism or any kind of ism that they could use support with. And so we want to be able to support them with openness and empathy and handling the challenges that they're facing. And so the next is the institutional change team, and that's led by Margie Pinnell. Margie, do you want to talk a little bit about your committee?
Yeah, we did a little bit of work presenting at the conference that did a workshop on doing equity audits. This year, we've had one meeting, but nobody showed up. So it was just a meeting of one with me. So, just trying to get that momentum back is what I'm really need help with right now.
Yeah, thanks so much, Margie. I totally understand. I think that as we've learned in working in sort of volunteer capacities, it's trying to get people really engaged and bought in and understanding that this is a community of people and we're all striving and working towards the sort of similar goals. And so so the institutional change team, their goal is to support headquarters, meaning ASEE headquarters, as a partner on DEI issues as needed, and as well as the leaders of divisions, sections, and zones to think about ways in which they can conduct organizational equity audits. Not that we do the equity audits, but supporting them in in doing that if they want. And I was part of the team that led the workshop at the annual conference, and we had really good attendance in that. So the next committee is the outreach team. So the outreach team, their goal is to expand our CDEI membership and the level of participation and engagement, as well as broaden DEI capacity through partnerships with divisions, sections, and zones. We are looking for a new leader of this team as well. And so if that sounds interesting to you, please let me know. The next is this committee, the Policy and Letters Committee, is different than the others. And so this committee has historically, as it's written in our bylaws, designed to be a very small team, like a team of 3 or 4 people, because their goal is to draft responses to key events, timely advocacy, or to encourage diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So like when there is new legislation that's being dropped, this Policy and Letters Committee quickly creates some kind of response to that's on our website, or they work with the ASEE board to write those letters. And so if writing policy letters is something that's interesting to you, please reach out. And next is professional development. Bree, would you like to talk a little bit about your committee?
Sure. So the Professional Development Committee is responsible for managing the virtual series that we have called Focus Fridays. And so we actually have 2, which I don't want to repeat anything that I'm going to say on October 9th, but we do have 2 workshops coming up in November, November 3rd and November 17th. So stay tuned for that shout out in the upcoming weeks. We also manage the process for the professional development workshops or panels or critical conversations at the conference. And we also manage the process for the distinguished lecturer or topical plenary. And so this past Friday, we finalized our forms for the professional development sessions, as well as our nomination form for the distinguished lecture. And so you should be hearing about our call for proposals within the next week or so. I'm actually going to send Cynthia and Caroline some information to update the website and send in the communications or Megan's newsletter. You'll also see it there as well. And I guess another thing to note, our team is growing. So last week when we met, we had 4 new people come. And there were 2 other people that were supposed to attend, but they didn't. So I'm not going to count them out yet, but our team is growing and I'm excited. And if you want to join, let me know.
Yeah, thanks so much, Bree. I think one of the things that committee really benefits from as far as volunteers is it's like very tangible, like we're working on these things, and it helps people really kind of understand the sort of slice of the pie. And so again, it's a great committee that I hold very dear for the investment I put in that as well. Okay, so last but not least are the Strategic Planning Committee, Strategic Planning and Assessment, and Spotlight team. So the Strategic Planning and Assessment, that committee is designed to help maintain and track the progress of our work towards a strategic plan with the guidance of the CDEI leadership team, which is the sort of chairs, the 3 chairs, past chair, current chair, which is myself, and then the incoming chair, which is Christina Alston, and she's on vacation this week, and then I'll be on vacation next week, and so or in a couple of weeks, and so Bree and Christina will be leading this meeting in a couple of weeks. And then Baishaki Bose talked a couple of weeks ago about her committee, the Spotlight team, and their goal is to exercise whatever influence they can to promote DEI within ASEE publications, and partnering with the awards committee to highlight and spotlight scholars within doing work around diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, and engineering success stories through our website and socials. And so again, a sort of summary of the committees that we are seeking leaders for: the awards committee, community building team, outreach team, policy and letters, and strategic planning and assessment. And so please reach out to me Megan Pollock, MP at engineerinclusion.com if you're interested in leading this, and we want to get you connected and up and running. And so, and we're here to support you all along the way. So we've got just a few minutes left. So sort of takeaway announcements. One is we need you to volunteer and do the best that you can to show up to the different committee meetings, or find ways to connect. So like, for example, if you're on Margie's team, but you can't come to the meetings, connect with her, and other ways that you can get involved. Review the strategic plan to sort of figure out what excites you most about that. Use our website to access resources, and make sure that you're staying tuned to the mailing list. Because we moved to a Google form, not a Google form, a Google group, it's going probably filtering in a different kind of way in your inbox. And so, do what you can to sort of make sure that you're always catching the news of what's going on. So I want to give a chance for you to think about if you have any action items, and although it looks like it's not going to present here. And now I want to just sort of open up the sort of mic to hear if we have any additional announcements from the community. So we've got a few other people here with us, Gibbon, Cecilia, and Charles. Any updates from you all that you'd like to share with the broader community, or any just good news that you all want to share and celebrate today? I see a shrug from Charles, so no updates from him. Glad that y'all are
Have
here.
any updates, but thank you for the presentation.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for showing up today. Any other updates, announcements? So Bree already teased a little bit, but stay tuned. The call for proposals is going to be open. So that means the fall virtual workshop series, the programming for the annual conference, and submitting nominations for a distinguished lecture. That's all going to be open really soon. And so I hope that you'll be able to submit some ideas and participate there. Any other things that you all would like to share before we close out today? All right. Bree, you just unmuted? What you got?
Oh, no, because this is the only time I see Margie. So Margie, the reason why you haven't heard from me or anybody from my team related to ABET is because I decided to table it until we got our call for proposals out. And so we do want to initiate the effort this fall, but I'm hoping for it to actually occur, like the panel, in the spring, because the time is flying by, and it got away from me, and I realized we need to get our CFP out. So that's why you haven't heard from me. I'm not sure if this is the space to say that, but
that's okay. No, it's good. Let's share news while we're together. So for the broader audience, stay tuned. Looks like we'll have something to do with the new sort of ABET diversity, equity, and inclusion standards coming up later this year. All right, well, it is the end of our time. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks with the same update led by Bree and Christina, and reach out if there's anything that we can do for you. Thanks so much. Bye, y'all.